Thank you so much. I truly appreciate. Thank you so much, Pauline. All your questions that were there, they were also just as they are. Panda question, yeah, we are in new one. Like the questions were there as they are. Thanks a lot.
Hello guys, hello, thank you so much for watching into this video. Now this is a part 2. Part 1 we're looking at danger warning signs. Now we're looking at regulatory signs, so I hope you have watched part 1. So I'm Mr Pauline, and I really encourage you to subscribe to this channel if you find this content very helpful. Now today I want us to look at regulatory signs. So just by looking at this slide, we can right off the bat just see that regulatory signs have a circular sign, have a circular shape. So all of these signs, they have one thing in common, which is they have a circle, right? So we are just going to be looking at regulatory signs. So one thing that you need to note about regulatory signs is that the insignia of regulatory signs is a circle. So there is a circle there. As you can see, there's a red circle. So all of these signs, you need to know them, right? So the first one, right? Passage prohibited for all vehicular traffic in direction of arrow, which means that any traffic that is going in this direction is prohibited. Okay. Then also have the sign, which means direction to be followed is indicated by the arrow. So one thing that's common about regulatory signs is that they regulate things, right? So they regulate things on the road, like direction, like which direction to follow, which lane to use, what speed limit driver should observe, and things like that. So they regulate things like that on the road. Okay, so we have this sign. So this sign means that the direction that is being pointed by the arrow is prohibited, and this sign means that all vehicles should follow this direction. Okay, then we also have this is a prohibition of a U-turn. As you can see here, we have this arrow, which means U-turn when the arrow goes right back to where it was coming from. Then also have this. So this one is a prohibition of a left turn here, turning to the left prohibited, and as well as this one is a prohibition of a turning to the right. Okay, then let's move on right to this one, special sign which may be used in conjunction with robots to indicate. So we have this one. It means that no vehicle should turn right at this robot. Okay, then also have this no parking sign. Also have parking, which means that parking is only allowed at 6 p.m. to 8 a.m. only. This one is also parking only for 1 hour. Vehicles are allowed to park there for 1 hour. Then this one is a parking for taxis only. Then this one is a no stopping, which means no vehicle should stop. Like in some areas, vehicles are not allowed to stop in those areas, maybe for security reasons. Okay, so basically one thing that you need to take note is that a regulatory signs will regulate things on the road. Okay, so this is a typical sign of a regulatory sign, where with a red circle and an inscription is written here, which will specify what that regulation is all about. Okay, now these are all regulatory signs, right? So obviously I'm not going to look at them specifically, or you can just take a screenshot of this video just to look at these. Okay, so also just to get in touch with us, I think we do have the driving chat sign, where you can get all these signs and look at them specifically. It is important that you do get to note each and every one of those signs, right? Specifically each and every one of those signs, you need to know them. Okay, so we do have this crossroad here. So this crossroad, it's one of those questions that do come. You can get a question like this and they ask you, in what class is this sign? So obviously you can see that this sign is in the regulatory class. So how do you remember that this sign is in the regulatory class? You remember it by you see this X here. So most students do get confused, right? They don't know where to specifically put that railroad level crossing sign. Is it in the informative class? Is it in the regulatory danger warning sign? So it is important to listen to what I'm about to say right now. So as you can see, that sign is clearly in the regulatory class. So how do you remember that that sign is in the regulatory class? Well, you see this X here. What you just need to do, imagine writing a circle around the X. A circle is the only sign that can neatly fit an X. Okay, just imagine that there's a circle here around the X, and it is invisible. So if you do that, you do remember, oh, a circular sign is in the regulatory class, and all regulatory signs have an insignia of a circle shape. Okay, so all these signs, they do have a circular shape. All right, so just one thing before I leave this slide, I have this just right at the bottom here. You see, this one is what we call a speed limit, right? So this one is what we call a speed limit sign, indicated that the maximum speed to be traveled upon seeing this sign is 80 kilometers per hour, and any speed that is above that is prohibited. Okay, also this is one of these road signs that do get a lot of people confused, so I really do want to stress a lot about this. So if you really want this to help you, please do pay attention here. So we do have this sign here. So obviously these two are no overtaking sign. As you can see here, these two vehicles are trying to overtake each other, right? So there is a strike through on one of them, which means that the one that is overtaking should not overtake. Okay, so how are they different? Okay, so you see this sign, let me start with this. So this sign is a heavy vehicle, this sign is also a heavy goods vehicle. So this basically is telling you that a heavy goods vehicle should not overtake another heavy goods vehicle. Okay, now what most students now do is that if they get this one, they also apply that same principle to this one. So they also say that this sign is a light motor vehicle should not overtake another light motor vehicle. Well, that is true, but that is partly true. Now what do I mean by that? Now if you see a road, right, that is not wide enough for a heavy goods vehicle to overtake, because here we are talking about the width of the road. If the width of the road does not allow the heavy goods vehicle to overtake because of their large width compared to smaller vehicles, it does not mean that smaller vehicles cannot overtake. So imagine this. Imagine you have a door, right? Your normal door frame. Now if you say that two grown large people cannot enter that door at the same time, do you also mean that two small people cannot enter? No, we don't. So here we are saying that two large fat people cannot enter that door, but we are not saying that two small people cannot enter. So if you see this sign, it means that a heavy goods vehicle should not overtake another heavy goods vehicle. Then that sign does not mean that smaller goods vehicle should not overtake another smaller goods vehicle. So this sign is very specific in that it is only referring to smaller goods vehicle. Now let's move on to this one. Now if you see that we have a door, right, and we say that two very thin people cannot enter at the same time at that door, it also means that also two fat people cannot enter through that door. Now what does that mean? It means that that sign is a general sign. If two very thin people cannot enter side by side at that door, it also means that two large people cannot also enter at the same time side by side on that door. Now what does that tell you? It means that if two small people cannot enter, or other combination can enter at the same time. Either one thin person and a one fat person, they both cannot enter, because as long as two thin people cannot enter. So it's like a general rule. We are just saying if the thin ones cannot do it, then automatically the fat one can also not do it. So what we are saying is that if you see this sign, it also means that these large vehicles cannot overtake. So basically this is an overtaking prohibition sign, which means that it overtake any kind of vehicle from overtaking another kind of vehicle, whichever vehicle it is, whether it is a big vehicle or a small vehicle. As long as the smaller vehicles cannot overtake one another, definitely a bigger vehicle cannot overtake a small vehicle, and also a smaller vehicle cannot overtake a big vehicle, and also a big vehicle cannot overtake another big vehicle. I hope I've made sense on that one, guys, and I've explained myself. If you still want me to explain more, just write it in the comment section and I'll see how best I can explain it further. So this is what we call a weight restriction sign, right? And this is what we call a weight restriction sign. Let me explain that. So this sign means that vehicles with a gross mass of more than 5 tons are prohibited, because you see this red circle, right? So the 5T means 5 tons. Okay, so but this one means that all vehicles from 5 tons should proceed. Okay, so let me read that. Vehicles with a gross mass of 5 tons are allowed from this portion of the road. So this means that all vehicles that are less than 5 tons are allowed on this road, while this sign means, which means that all vehicles that weigh more than 5 tons are allowed on this road. Okay, so here we have a give way sign and a stop sign. They are both in the regulatory class because of their circular shape, right? So they do have a circular shape. Remember, a give way sign, you slow down and give the right way to traffic from both sides. A stop sign, you have to stop and give the right way to traffic from both sides. Okay, so one thing that I can say here, that if you watch all my videos, I have stressed this enough, that at a giveaway sign you don't necessarily have to stop. So when you are looking for your answer, when you are given a giveaway sign, you just need to find the word slow down, because any word that will tell you to stop at a giveaway sign is wrong. Okay, so at a stop you are looking for the word stop, and obviously you have to give the right word to both sides. That can be from the left or from the right, or from crossing traffic. Okay, so at both these signs you have to look at traffic that is approaching from both sides, whether from the left or from the right. Okay, now this one, these two, what are the difference between these two signs? Okay, so these two are some of the questions that do get a lot of people confused, and I'm here to explain something about these two signs. So here we have a what we call a speed limit sign, as we have an 80. Okay, and you can also appreciate that this means that our speed limit is 80 kilometers per hour. Okay, now also on this one is quite different in that we do have an 80, but we do have this rectangular sign, and this one says general limit 60. Now let me explain the difference between these two signs, because you do get a lot of questions with this sign telling you what the speed limit, and the answer option will say speed limit is 80. Another one will say speed limit is 60. Another one will say speed limit is between 80 and 60. Now one thing that you need to know about this sign is that you need to use your shapes. As you can see, the 80 is in a circle, and the circle is a regulated sign, so your speed is being regulated to 80 kilometers per hour. What about the 60? 60 is in a rectangle, so a rectangle is an informative sign. So one thing that we know about informative signs, that they inform the driver. Okay, so they inform the driver. Sometimes they will suggest to the driver, okay, on things that they should do for their own safety. So what we are saying is here is that there is an 80 kilometers per hour speed limit, but you are being informed that you can travel at 60 kilometers per hour. It's like saying, you know, I've put $80 in your account, but I suggest that you use 60. You know, for safety reasons, maybe you might need the other 20. So basically, what is the maximum amount of money that you can spend in that account is 80 kilometers per hour. So if you see this sign, it means that your maximum speed is 80 kilometers per hour. So if you are found traveling at 70 kilometers per hour, that will not be at fault, because the 60 is just a suggestion or some extra information that you are given, that we recommend you to travel at 60 kilometers per hour. Okay, so all these signs, they do have a speed limit of 80 kilometers per hour. Now if you encounter both these signs in an exam and the question is asking you what is the speed limit, just note that the speed limit of both signs is 80 kilometers per hour. Okay, same as this one, I will not go into much detail. This is just what I explained to you in a moment. Then also you have these ones. This one is a width restriction, and this one is a height restriction. We talked about that this one is quite horizontal and this one is vertical. Okay, guys, so it looks like we are moving on to the third class, which is informative class, and I will not go into that in this video. To make sure that you watch out for our next video, I'll be looking exactly into that. So thank you so much, guys, for watching. I hope this content was very helpful. If you have any questions on any of the things that we just talked about, just write them in the comment section of this video, and I'll make sure that I'll do a video on that one. Okay. Now on our next video, we're going to be looking at this informative class, so please do make sure that you don't miss that one out. So thanks so much, guys, for watching. I'll see you later in the next video. Goodbye.